So guys, for a day in the making, today we are shooting some real estate because we are in the mountains in Trentino. Now I'm gonna show you this beautiful apartment. So we have the living room, all right, and the kitchen. It is indeed beautiful. So they had their real estate photos taken already, but they were not satisfied. So they called me and they asked if I could help. And I'm oh so glad they asked me because this is a chance to show you what to do. Now, I'm using my 360 paired to the Matterport app. This is the beautiful view that we have outside the window. Let me show you upstairs. And so I was saying I will be using the Matterport app connected to my Insta360 X5. This is a great value for the money because you can add some services to your clients. And then, of course, we will be doing some HDR and FLambient photos of each and every room. Now, I don't have it this much wide of a lens because I only have 20mm on my 2270 f4 by Sony, but we make it work. It will be enough. So let me go through the process of shooting the photos and recording and building the 3D map with the Matterport app. This is the site while going down from the staircase. I've been here before, so I know the house quite well, and I love it. And I love the mood. We are in Trentino Mountains region in Italy. Stay tuned because we're going to discuss how it works, the HDR and the FLambient. I'm not using a flashlight or a speed light for the FLambient. I'm using a cob light because we can use the walls as reflectors. And so these will be the modifiers for today. This is our mission. Let's see if the end results will pay off.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thomas Love here from One Lens Only, and today, as you can see, we have a change of settings. We are on the Dolomites in Italy. Why is that? Well, first, because I'm on vacation. Second, because a friend who lives here needed some photos from real estate. Now, if you follow the channel for a while, you know that I'm a shooter for portraits, mostly proposals, couples, families on Lake Como, but from time to time I give it a thought because I know that these love photos won't last for the low season, and so during winter time I want to find a second side source of income. And I think that real estate, given the region I'm living in, which is filled with Airbnbs and hosts and everything, might be a good chance. And so I did study a lot, and today I want to share with you what I learned for real estate, because today we're gonna stay a day in the making for real estate shooting. Now, I documented myself for HDR, for FLambient, for what I need, and of course I have the whole set of gear that I'm in need of to shoot portraits, but you need some expertise, right? Some experience, because you need to have the eye, the sight to frame properly, such as real estate hosts will expect you to do. And then of course you can do the FLambient, you can use the flashlight, you can use the HDR to avoid having the shadows and to avoid having these color casts. Like today's example, the house has plenty of wood everywhere because we are on the mountain, and so they were lamenting that the photos that they got from Airbnb sent over their photographer for the listing, and they were lamenting that they were all yellowish because of this color cast. And so it was my first priority to have, well, first the FLambient shooting, but second also a cob light where you can manage the Kelvin of the light so that you won't have a yellow light but a blue one to compensate the warm tones of the house. And so when you are the one who arrives late to a party, you also need to over-deliver. You need to differentiate yourself. Otherwise, there are plenty of real estate photographers out there that can offer the same service, and they have been doing it for a while. So same thing, same as I'm specialized in proposals. So if you want to propose on Lake Como, you might probably call my good self. Also, I need to specialize on real estate. And so the very first thing that I did is think of what can I offer more, and the end result, since I already own the gear, was to offer a 3D with Matterport. So very simple things. Here I have a very simple and cheap monopod that can be opened up and becomes a tripod, and it is as long as 2 meters in height. And in this one, of course, you don't need the 2 meters. As you can see, it's the same height as the eyesight. I placed my Insta360 so that just moving this around, the Matterport app will prepare a scan, a 3D scan of everything and a plan of the apartment. So this is the 360 in full sight in the light because it was in the dark before. So I just need to move it around and I will show you the end result. Now that's no rocket science, because I have to say the 360 app is already very well developed, and so it's a great help because you don't need to get crazy around it. Just when you end with the scan, you just need to mark where the windows are so it can cross the information with the light that is entering the room, and it creates already the plan for the house. Second thing that I did always with my 360, and this time instead of the monopod, tripod, whatever, I used the invisible stick. So I just made a transition from the outside to the inside and the full visit of the property so that people visiting can know what to expect. They can understand better the size of the living room and how the plan of the house is made. And so always with the 360, because we don't want to go around with an additional gimbal, which is additional weight, which is additional batteries. I'm a one-man band and a one lens only, and so the 360 comes in very handy also for this video, and then you can match maybe some photo of the details when you're visiting a certain room. And so we delivered already the 3D plan of the house and a video 360 so that people willing to visit and to book it know exactly what the kind of room or apartment or flat or 2 rooms is. And then now we get to the photos. Photo side for real estate. Let me put down here this thing. I was saying photos for real estate. Well, you probably already own a camera. You probably already own a lens. The lens that I'm using is my Sony 20-70. I purchased it on purpose because I'm still shooting portraits, but I also want to shoot real estate. And so the 24-70 was not wide enough. The 20mm is still not completely wide enough, but we can make it work. And so it's a good compromise. For the glass, we don't need it very fast because you will close down to f7.1, f8, some also close down to f11. This is not the case. I'm good with 7.1, but the most important piece of gear here is your tripod. So forget about those cheapo and lightweight travel tripods that you might already have among your gear. Now I will show you something. This is from K&F Concept. Let me put it in the light, okay? They sent it over because at a certain moment I needed a sturdy tripod. And so this is called BH36L, I think. It's the only code that I can read on the tripod. Let me double check if that's... oh, this says M1. Put in the light, M1. So a few considerations about a sturdy tripod. Well, of course, it's bigger and heavier than a travel tripod, but you will need, I'm very happy to have the Arca Swiss mount here. The section is not round, it's hexagonal. That means that you can pop it in and out very easily, and it's sturdy, very sturdy. The kind of segment, it's with a clamp, not with a screw, because the screw might loosen up. And the most important thing is that the ball head needs to sustain the weight. Now, I talked to them, I might receive a geared head, which is ideal to shoot real estate, but as a starting point, you need a big and sturdy tripod, carbon fiber, whatever you want to have. You need to have the adjustment. The ball head, if you use a ball head instead of a geared head, needs to sustain a lot of weight. Now, let's discuss the kind of framing, because you know you have your tripod. It's big and it needs to have the height, at least chest height or eye height. You choose. I think chest height is better because it's when you go around, that's the height that you want to have, and it needs to be consistent in all the rooms that you're visiting. So once you pick the height, please make sure you're always level and you keep always the same height. Now, with the 20 mil, it's a tad limiting, so I found that details need to be fully frontal. Like if you're shooting a bed, you want to see it all. If you're shooting the kitchen, you want to see the whole set of appliances. But you might also need to include 3 walls, because if you only include 2, then it's a side. It might give you perspective, but this is not what the client is expecting from you. So take both the angled with 2 walls in your room just to have a full plant, full view of the living room as an example, but also try to keep always to include 3 walls in your framing. There are plenty of tutorials out there, but I wanted to show you one day in the making. So I spent a few hours in that property. First, with the Matterport, going around and moving it to have the 3D scan. Second, with the selfie invisible stick on the 3D on the Insta360 to have a visit going around for the flat, for the property, upstairs, the rooms, the washrooms, the shower is very important. To me, it's a bit gross, but people want to see what kind of shower you have. And then the photos. The photos I made first, the HDR set of 5 with 2 f-stop difference in between. When you set your exposure, don't use the exposure from the camera because that will measure the light that is entering and hitting the sensor. You'd rather want to use the histogram, which is reliable, and then other 2 stops under and overexposed with 2 stops difference each. So you put them together, you have the HDR, you might pull the window and show. And then you use the FLambient, so with your speed light or with a cob light, if you don't have it, mind the shadows, you would go around and point it to the ceiling if you have reflecting ceiling. In this case, I had wood, and so I didn't use the ceiling, I used the walls that were white to bounce the light off the walls just to avoid having warmer color cast from the ceiling. So I'm gonna show with you the end result from the 3D, from the Insta360 and from the photos. And guys, if you have any questions about the procedure, the gear, the day in the making, please let me know down here in the comment. Otherwise, I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, please remember to like it, share it on social media, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the videos to come, and I guess I will see you later. Thank you, bye-bye, and enjoy the view.
Hey, I'm on vacation every single day cause I love my occupation. Hey, I'm on vacation. If you don't like your life, then you should go and change.